If you're a CEO looking for that edge to make your event stand out and leave a lasting impression, then this is tailor-made for you. So I want you to listen because you're going to learn how to infuse your events with the power of celebration, from high fives to toasts to awards, things that will really elevate the experience for your guests. I'm going to share some proven strategies and some pro tips. You know I love a good pro tip on how to create transformative moments that will really make your events a huge success. Let's celebrate, shall we? Just saying that, let's celebrate, reminds me of the book Celebrate Everything by Darcy Miller. If you haven't already read it, I want you to go to the library and grab yourself a copy to peruse because it's so beautiful. And if you've ever been on her social media and seen images of her home art studio, oh my goodness. That photo collage wall that she has as a backdrop, and like the big work table in the middle filled with every marker ever imaginable is like on my vision board for my dream home. So beautiful. I don't know what I would do with any of those markers because I kind of lack that special something that artists have, which is called talent. But I do love a good, like paint by number art activity. Okay, I digress. Let's get on topic, shall we? So it is my birthday today. Well, that is, as long as you're listening on the day that this episode comes out, which is August 7th, 2023. I thought, well, what better way to celebrate than to talk with you about celebrations inside of our live events, right? So that's what we're going to do on the podcast today. We're going to talk about celebrations. And I think it's so important to have this conversation and to talk about celebrations inside of events because they can add this really transformative impact within the events. I think there's significance to celebrations, right? They happen in every country around the world to celebrate all sorts of things. And so why not inside of the container of our events, right? So let's talk about how they foster that really positive atmosphere. They can be used to honor achievements. They can create a really memorable experience for guests. And so I think we should consider using the power of celebrations to really elevate our events, to invite our guests to reach those new heights that we know that they're capable of. So first thing I wanted to talk about was awards ceremonies. Really recognizing the achievements of those within our community and raising the aspiration simultaneously for the guests who are in the audience watching the awards ceremony participants parade across the stage, if you will, whatever the stage looks like in your event. And what I wanted to share was that award ceremonies within events are fabulous for recognizing the milestones, the achievements of those within our programs, like our current clients who are already learning our stuff and taking action and experiencing momentum and just getting those results. And so why not use our events as a kind of milestone moment to celebrate them and allow them to parade across the stage, right? I'm thinking of, a college graduation where everyone's walking across the stage and moving their tassel, and how ceremonial that is and kind of signifies a milestone, a movement from one stage to the next. And so what kind of awards or award could you come up with to celebrate the achievements of those within your program and give those awards out on a regular basis within your annual, semi-annual event, right? I think about ClickFunnels and Funnel Hacking Live a lot when it comes to award ceremonies and the power of having awards that people within our community can strive for and earn and celebrate, not only with members of the community, but with their families, and how cool that is. And how cool that is, not just for the person who's striving for it and who has achieved it and so proud to celebrate it and hang the award in the background of their videos on social media, but how powerful that is for the people in the audience, in the room, to watch and raise the aspirations for themselves, being like, I want that next. I want that. That's going to be me next event. I'm going to be walking across that stage. And then also the power of that for people who have not ever been in the room at Funnel Hacking Live, and they're watching on social media, and still that fear of missing out is building, and their aspirations are still on the rise because they too see that there's somebody walking across the stage and getting their photo taken with Russell, and really excited and enjoying celebrating that milestone. So I think don't underestimate the power of awards. It doesn't have to be elaborate in terms of the ceremony or what you give away, but the repetitive nature, so that people know that there's something to be striving for and going after, and how it happens time after time at your event, so that they can look forward to working towards it. But then also it continues to be this kind of aspirational pull for guests. James Wedmore does this too inside of his events, where he has a case study contest where members within the Business by Design community can submit case studies, stories of success and progress and reaching milestones, and then the students within the community vote on, I think it's maybe the top 10, and then people at the event watch the videos or hear the speeches live and vote, and someone wins. And how cool is that as a way to not only showcase what's possible, celebrate the people who are in the community, and third, raise the aspirations for those who are in the community who have not yet achieved those types of milestones inside the program. So huge. I could go on forever. I feel like this is a soapbox moment, awards ceremonies, and the power of recognizing achievements and raising aspirations, but we will move on. But I want you to journal on this. What could it look like for your community? Okay. And it's like a whole nother episode to talk about how to organize, like logistically, practically, tactically awards ceremonies. I did that for about a decade, and there's some mastery there and an art and a science for doing it at scale. And so if I haven't gotten around to doing an episode on the podcast about that level of minutia detail, will you just hit me up on Instagram in the DMs if you have a specific situation where you're like, Sarah, I could use some brainstorming help or logistical support, and I'm happy to serve in that. Just send me a DM. So let's move on to number 2. That was number 1, awards ceremony. Number 2, celebratory lunches and champagne toast. So this is all about commemorating growth and success. And I love to use celebrations as a way to move people towards an offer, to move people towards making a decision about an offer. Are you in and are you out? Is this for you or not for you? It's decision time, right? So the first person that comes to mind that does this so elegantly and beautifully is Brendon Burchard when he hosts a 3.5-day event and makes an offer. Inside that event, there's always a call to celebrate together after the event has ended with a champagne toast backstage and or a celebratory lunch, and that there's an urgency to setting up for the celebratory champagne toast because the food and beverage team at the hotel would need to know the count so that they can be prepared backstage. And I love it because that provides this just other layer of urgency and a fear of missing out on something special backstage with Brendon, and this kind of sense of urgency of, oh, I better make a decision because I want, if I'm going to decide to be there, I want them to make sure that they know that I'm coming and that they're ready for me. And so whether you do a celebratory lunch at the end or a champagne toast like Brendon does, I think, or maybe it's photos on stage after the event has completed, individual photos with you, the CEO, and the person who's decided to invest in themselves and enroll in the offer. So individual photos is a great way to celebrate too. And so I want to highlight how important this is to add to your event when you're making an offer, so that you not only in that celebratory gesture, you're not only creating a sense of exclusivity and appreciation for the guests who invested in themselves and purchased the high ticket offer, but again, you're also helping people make that decision by adding that layer of urgency and that additional pressure of a fear of missing out. Are you tracking with me? So I want you to, as a takeaway from this section here, is to journal on what type of celebratory gesture could you add to your next event so that you increase the amount of guests who convert. Yes? Excellent. Okay, so let's move on to the third one. That was number 2, celebratory lunches and champagne toasts to commemorate growth and success. Number 1 was award ceremonies, really recognizing achievements and raising aspirations. So let's talk small celebrations. All about fostering connection and engagement. So an example of this, what this would look like is, let's say you're all in a general session and you take a moment to invite guests to high five the person sitting next to them for showing up. It's something you could easily add to the very beginning of your event. Or let's say it's virtual. You can pat yourself in the back and like clap and give yourself a high five because you made it. You're here. You've decided to invest in you. You showed up for yourself and your ongoing learning and development. Yay you for being here. Okay, that is a small celebration, just a small gesture that you can help them make to celebrate themselves and to celebrate being together. And when we do little things like that, incorporating those small celebrations and gestures throughout the event, it really fosters a sense of connection with each other and with you as the event host, and drives up engagement because the more times you could add in shiny objects like this, like, okay, high five your neighbor, or pat yourself on the back, or give yourself a high five, it increases the engagement, because those of us who have focus issues, yes, that's me, it redirects us. It puts those little blinders on us as if we're a horse, right? Be like, okay, wait, this is where your focus needs to be right now. It is super effective to add simple acts like high fives, like acknowledgements. Let's say they just did a group exercise and they had to do some vulnerable sharing, or they had to sit in silence and workshop on a specific thing and do the thing right there in the moment. Well, take some time when you come out of that to have the group high five each other, or to celebrate each person for making that commitment to doing something hard. And it's so easy, and it doesn't take much time at all to integrate these into your event schedule. And in doing so, you're really enhancing the overall experience. And so I say, do it. It will take a little practice, right? And so maybe you need to make a checklist that goes on your podium or on your desk in your little bubble when you're presenting, that kind of has those key reminders for you of like, okay, celebrate. And whatever you need to write down to remember, to just kind of let's insert these. Maybe make it a game for yourself. Write down your checklist for the event of your commitments to yourself. This is not guest facing. And so the card goes on your podium and you say celebrate, and maybe you've got like 5 boxes and you got to check them all off before the event is done. And that's your little way of gamifying, helping you remember to celebrate. Remember, everybody loves to be seen, to be heard, and celebrated. And so in this episode, we're talking all about celebrations, and little things can be celebrations too. It can even be gifts. So it could even be a little special something. Maybe you've got a book that's been really meaningful to you in your journey, and you have it waiting for them on their chair when they come back from a break, and you just say, hey, I just wanted to celebrate the really hard work that you're doing right now, your focus, your commitment to being here. And so I wanted to celebrate you with this book that has been super meaningful to me. I wanted you to have a copy too. Enjoy. Little things like that. So yeah, small celebrations. Do it. This is my encouragement. It really fosters connection and engagement. So I highly, highly recommend the small things. And so those are the 3 things I wanted to cover under celebrations. I know there's so many ways to celebrate. Those 3 are pretty cool and cover a lot of bases. I think over the long term, you're going to see that when you add celebrations, there's a lasting impact. It creates more momentum. It creates stronger relationships, not only amongst the community, but because celebrating together feels good, right? You're creating those moments that are memorable, but also creates a deeper connection with you because, like I said, people love to feel celebrated, and you're helping them do that, okay? And I think you'll end up having an event that's more memorable, that's more engaging. There's more word of mouth referrals. There's more retention, people wanting to come back, see that award ceremony again, be the one on the stage next time. And so think of this as one more tool in your toolbox, right? To leveling up your events, to being a little bit more pro team, right? A little bit more intentional. And I think with a simple brainstorming session with your team, you can come up with what's the baby step that we can take in our next event to adding a little bit more celebration to our events. And I know you'll be grateful you did. And when you do, will you send me a DM over on Instagram? Because I would love to celebrate you celebrating at your event. So, your homework, go brainstorm. How could you add small gestures? What's an award that you could add? And how could you add a little special something, a celebratory gesture to help move people towards your offer, making that decision. Am I in or am I out? All right, so do your homework and then send me a DM when you add a little special something to your next event so I could celebrate with you. And go make it an outstanding rest of the week. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care.